This looks like a John Wick video. But this isn't really about John Wick. It's about what happens when a system decides you're too useful to let go. John Wick isn't punished for being violent. Violence is the easy explanation, the clean one. What actually gets him punished is harder to admit. He's useful in a way that doesn't age well. This isn't really a revenge story. Revenge is just the noise on top. Underneath it, this is about what happens when someone who's always been reliable decides they're done. Wick doesn't lose his freedom because he breaks some sacred rule. Plenty of people break rules in that world and walk away. He loses it because the system has already made up its mind about him. Someone like that doesn't retire. He goes missing. Or he gets pulled back in. In the first film, there's that moment in the basement, the sledgehammer, the concrete dust in the air. That isn't rage. That's hope. He really thinks, if he buries the tools deep enough, if he covers them with a house and a memory, this part of his life will stay dead. But tools like that don't disappear. They wait. They sit under the floor until the phone rings, and suddenly everyone remembers exactly who you are. By the time we get to Rome, the lie is fully dressed up. The sommelier scene plays like luxury. Velvet walls, polite smiles, good lighting. Strip that away, and it's bleak. He isn't shopping, he's restocking. That's how the system makes obedience feel like honor. It puts a suit on the violence and calls it craftsmanship. By the time Wick is declared excommunicado, there's no dramatic execution, no spectacle. That's intentional. What disappears first is help. No doctors, no rooms with doors that lock, no place where he can sit down without checking exits. Every space turns sharp, every pause feels borrowed. He isn't being hunted yet, he's being worn down. And that's the point. The most unsettling moment in Chapter 2 isn't a shootout, it's the park. The second every phone starts ringing, something shifts. People don't panic, they don't rush. They stop. Heads tilt, hands lower. Strangers suddenly know who you are. If you've ever had a Slack notification light up late at night, you know that feeling. Not fear exactly, but something colder. That split second where your entire body tenses, and whatever you were doing, whatever small moment of peace you'd carved out, just dissolves. No one's chasing you yet, but they're watching. That's how this world tightens the net. Slowly, quietly, in public. What's happening here isn't about killing him, it's about keeping him close. Tired people don't plan, they react. They take the next job, they answer the call. They stop asking if there's another way out. That's why the Continental matters. Inside those walls, the rules feel solid, predictable, almost comforting. Doctors patch him up, staff look away. For a moment, the world holds still, but none of that is permanent. Ever notice how company laptops come with admin locks? You don't own the tools, you borrow them. And the second you're no longer aligned, the access disappears, sometimes remotely, without a warning. That's exactly how the Continental works. The doors don't slam shut, they just stop opening. No arguments, no appeals, no reminders of what he's done before. The rules were never built for him. They were built to keep the place standing. Once you're no longer useful to that balance, you're outside, and the city takes it from there. The moment the protection disappears, everything you thought you'd earned starts slipping. Not all at once, just enough to notice. Your name still carries weight until it doesn't. Your track record still matters until nobody's around to care. No one argues with you, no one explains. Things just stop working. Calls don't get returned. Doors that used to open don't. People hesitate where they used to nod. That's the trick. You're not thrown out. You're left standing in the same place, only now the ground is gone. And that's when it hits you. You weren't being protected because you were exceptional. You were protected because you fit. You moved the way the place expected you to move. You solved the problems it needed solved. You didn't slow anything down. The second that changes, the room doesn't turn hostile. It turns empty. When a manager tells you, nobody can do this like you, they know exactly what they're saying. It sounds like praise. That sentence isn't a compliment. It's a lock. You hear it anywhere consistency gets mistaken for loyalty.
Most of the people stuck like this didn't screw up. They showed up. They delivered. They kept things from falling apart. And over time, that reliability stops being appreciated and starts being required. That's how people get stuck. Not by failing, but by being the one everyone leans on when things go wrong.
At first, it looks like trust, more responsibility, bigger problems. Then, slowly, it starts to feel heavier. Think about John Wick at the Sacré-Cœur in Chapter 4. He fights his way up 222 steps, lungs screaming, enemies closing in from every direction, blood mixing with sweat, legs barely holding. And just when he can see the cathedral doors, just when the end feels close enough to believe in, one kick sends him tumbling all the way back to the bottom. No speech, no villain explaining why, just gravity doing its job. And what does he do? He stands up, checks his suit, starts climbing again. Sound familiar? The ones who feel this pressure aren't the ones who fail. They're the ones everyone would panic to lose. Not because they're weak, but because they're carrying more than they admit. And like John, they keep climbing the same stairs, somehow expecting a different result. This isn't about villains, and it's not about bad bosses. It's about gravity. If all of your value lives in one place, then leaving starts to hurt. John Wick doesn't lose his freedom because he isn't capable. He loses it because there was nowhere else to go. No other world where those skills made sense. No other identity that felt real. Most people won't have to burn down the high table. They'll just keep climbing. One more quarter, one more project, one more time. Not because the top is worth it, but because they forgot there was ever another way down.